Blumhouse and Christopher Landon released Drop, an all-new thriller starring Megan Faye. Question is, was this cinematic airdrop worth receiving? Let's talk about it. Single mother Violet's date with Henry starts off simple and charming, but the night quickly spirals into chaos when she begins receiving eerie airdrops from an unknown sender, demanding she kills Henry or her son dies. What follows is a twisted, escalating nightmare wrapped inside what might be one of the most unhinged thrillers of the year. Starting off with the things that worked for me, something I really liked was the tone and atmosphere this movie set. Something that Christopher Landon, the director, did really well was setting a very warm, chill, very calm vibe before very suddenly diving into something very unsettling. He kept that balance with what I'm going to only call really, really good precision, matching that with Megan Faye's performance, and I was pretty much on the edge of my seat the entire time I was watching. Something I really appreciated about this movie, which I haven't actually experienced with a thriller in a while, is that it kept you guessing right along with the lead character. Your eyes are darting for people she's bumping into, you're collecting clues alongside her, you're taking mental notes of everything that you're seeing, because when it comes to a mystery like this, every single thing you're seeing could come up later on. It could be important. So keeping us engaged like that, watching for every minor detail, that was a good call. At a brisk hour and 35 minutes, Drop has a really good narrative and pace. When I get into the things that didn't work, I'll talk about some of the plot things that could have been trimmed a little bit. But for my money's worth, this outing knows what it was aiming for, and keeping it under 2 hours was definitely a good choice. It worked out very well for me, at least. Second big thing is the score, the music, and really sometimes the lack of it, actually. Something this movie does that I really like is there'll be scenes where the music will just stop. Will go dead silent when she receives a message or when something really tension-filled is happening. It creates this kind of bubble around her and us. And what I interpreted it as is that when you're stuck in a situation like this, the world kind of disappears. Everyone else's reactions and everything else they're dealing with, it just doesn't matter. And so there are a couple of times in the movie where I was feeling that dread, and right at the exact time that I was feeling that dread, the music stopped. And there was this like fuzzy, hazy sound going on, or even in the film editing itself, it would go black, pitch black just around the character. It felt very isolating, like she's stuck in a situation. And it wasn't until halfway through the film that I realized, oh, that was the point. I really did like that. Props should probably be given to Brandon Sklenar. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but still. He brings a really grounded and nervous energy that works really well opposite of Violet. The chemistry feels real in the sense that it feels awkward, like it's a first date. That it really did come across. They're kind of hard to talk to each other. She naturally has to get up and go do a whole bunch of things throughout the night, and I like that he's very understanding. He understands that she's probably nervous. It helps that they both have their own, let's call it, baggage coming into it. So seeing him be very understanding and whatnot, I like. That's another thing that really did stand out really well to me. Something I'll keep coming back to as I review it is that it kept you both mentally and emotionally invested. You're mentally locked in trying to figure out who's this mysterious person, because as you know, with airdrops or quick shares, if you have Android, you can only be a certain amount of feet away. So it's someone in this restaurant that they're with. So your eyes just darting around watching. But to not get into spoilers or anything, emotionally you're watching very closely because there's just a lot of background context going into this date and what it can mean if it goes right or very, 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 very wrong. Moving on to the things that maybe did not work that well for me. Surprisingly enough, for this For this movie, I don't have a huge list of things that didn't work. The biggest issue for me was certain parts of Violet's backstory. It felt like it was kind of building towards some sort of like major reveal, and in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really. I'm trying to be as vague as possible, but it felt like it was supposed to like pay off in a big way, and it did, I guess, but it was so minuscule and not really present that there's a version of the script out here. There's a version of this script where this whole second plot line just was dropped completely, and you would have had essentially the same movie. I don't know if that makes this plot line good or bad. It just made it something that, if you ask me whether I want it in there or not, I'm pretty much indifferent to. I didn't really need it in there, and it didn't really serve anything, at least in my opinion. And what you might be hearing a lot of the criticisms going around out there is the third act. It goes off the rails a little bit, not too much, but there is a slight tone shift where we go from a pretty one location, albeit very high tense, but fairly grounded surface level tone, to a big action sequence and a lot of like modern third act, shenanigans. And I was like, where did this come from? But I mean, I still enjoyed it. As you can see, I'm kind of back and forth to the negatives because for the most part, I didn't dislike either of these points. It was just something that stood out to me. It's still watchable. It's just that it is definitely the weakest act. The third act is the weakest of the two, at least for me. And lastly, it is minor, but there are some decisions that Violet makes that, in hindsight, after seeing the movie, probably could have been solved or prevented the entire situation. I mean, in all fairness, most of these moments fall into that category of like, well, plot has to happen. So she's got to, decisions have to be made to keep the plot going, because this could be a fairly short movie if people make a few logical decisions. But we're not really here to see logical decisions, are we? We're here to kind of watch a story unfold. And the way that they decide to write the story unfold is that these are the decisions that she makes. So it's one of those things where like it does a good enough job writing around that if you don't overthink it, you'll pretty much stay locked in and you'll enjoy the chaos. At least I did. So overall, was drop a thumbs up or thumbs down? For me, it is a thumbs up. It manages to keep your brain and emotions equally invested in a pretty tight, unpredictable thriller, and one that definitely stands out, at least from the admittedly short list that I've seen. But I should probably emphasize this. I'm not a huge Blumhouse fan. Not that I don't like them, I just typically don't go out to theaters to go see them because I pretty much know what I'm getting. So this was a complete surprise. I just went on a whim to go see it, and it was good. It's not only just a good Blumhouse film, but it was just a pretty good film in this genre, just overall. I recently found out through reviews and interviews and all that Christopher Landon directed the Happy Death Day movie, apparently. So I have not seen that. And I think after seeing this, it's probably time that I go ahead and give this director's filmography a look. Because, like I've been saying throughout this review, I really did enjoy this. I did. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one. It's pretty short. There's just something I'm trying out. I'm gonna actually like do some movie reviews this year. Actually, put my thoughts out there, and hopefully, you guys like hearing them. Thank you for checking out this review and getting this far. By the way, listening to my voice in this little corner of the internet, if you will, it means a lot. Leave a like or a comment if you enjoyed the movie, or if you haven't seen it yet, if you're planning on going to go see it. I am very interested to hear what other people think about this movie, because it's got a pretty positive bubble around it review wise, and so it felt good to go see it and be like, yeah, I agree, this was really good. I will be having more reviews and breakdowns and just general movie talk in the near future. It's all on the way. But again, thanks for stopping by and listening to me. Subscribe if you'd like. I definitely have some more things planned, reviews and whatnot. And so if you want to stick around and hear what I have to say, just I guess stick around. You'll be seeing it. But until the next one, I will be seeing you. Thank you again for listening. Have a good one.